Harp on Sports, The Bar, Podcast Media, Audio, Radio Network. Follow, share, like, subscribe. All of our platforms at Harp on Sports, Twitter, Instagram. Harp on Sports, The Bar, Podcast, Buzzsprout, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And, of course, Harp on Sports Facebook page, YouTube channel, and harponsports.com. What do we have in store for you on this one? A rivalry up and moving. Florida State on the move. What do we think about Florida State moving to Fridays from Saturdays? I love it. I absolutely think it's brilliant. We're going to look at that. Also, I've titled so many things the last month, like Jaguars Jumble and Jaguar Junkyard. I'm running out of words that begin with J to describe this thing. I am. So we'll just go with this one. The Duuuval dunce cap. Because this is beyond embarrassing at this point. It is. The Jaguars may not have the worst owner in the NFL, but the dude's on the podium. And Shad we don't trust. And the NFL, when it comes to coaching hires, some have circled their guys and went and got them. The Vikings are talking to Jim Harbaugh. Well, Brian Flores, we still don't know exactly what's going on. I think the Raiders nailed it with Josh McDaniel. So we're going to look at some other coaches, at least the way that looks in the NFL right now and the hiring process. I do think this, though, whether or not Byron Leftwich is the right guy, every indication pointed to that. So why did it stop? Is it all Trent Baalke? We're going to wrap with looking at some major rule changes afoot in college football, including the faking the injury rule or trying to slow down the clock rule. Boy, it's going to be tough to sanction. So I've got a way, or at least to administer. How do you know if he's faking or not? There's a way. There's a way to stop this. There really, really is. Or make it so nobody wants to do it. How about that? Or the price tag is pretty hefty. So look at that as well. Let's start off with this first. Florida State on the move, going from Saturdays to Fridays. I think it's fantastic. I do. And there's some self-righteousness when it comes to fans of both of these teams. The game belongs on Saturday. It's a big-time rivalry. Not anymore, it's not. I've covered this game in person for 7 years now. I can think of 3 games on Florida's schedule that Florida fans make a bigger deal out of. Is it a nice rivalry? It was. Is it anymore? Sure, if you live here. Anywhere else? No. Florida State gets lost in the shuffle of rivalry Saturday. It does. It was at noon this year. And what was going on? People are doing this. Michigan, Ohio State, watching this one, looking around at the other games. What time's Auburn, Alabama start? Okay, what's going on with the... You get lost in the shuffle. You get buried on... What, did ESPN have it on at noon? Rivalry weekend, that's where you sat. And let's face it, Florida State may go to a bowl this year. Probably a little bit better. Mike Norvell did a pretty good job at the end of the year. Billy Napier's going to have his work cut out for him to get back to a bowl because, let's face it, the non-con got significantly tougher with the addition of Utah. You have to go on the road to Tennessee. Got Georgia still got to go on the road to A&M. So the slate's tougher. So neither of these teams are really going anywhere this year. And the game's on a Friday now? Okay. This whole notion that, the game will be less special if it's not on Saturday. Really? I think the Egg Bowl, Mississippi State on Thanksgiving night's pretty cool, don't you think? You could carve out your own niche on Friday night. Florida State could. Well, that's the same night as a high school playoff game. Oh, damn it, who cares? You know who cares about the high school football playoff game? The families that are in it. So what? 100 set of families? 100 kids are involved with it? There's going to be a couple high school football games that night, and I just don't think it's right. Oh, okay. So? This is just one of these things that, look, yeah, and it's funny about this is like there's families, there's high school football on those nights. It's funny nobody's worried about everybody's family on New Year's or New Year's Eve. Those are holidays. What about families? Nobody's worried about Thanksgiving. It's funny nobody worries about Mississippi State Thanksgiving night and their families. It's ridiculous. And the whole notion that if you don't play on Saturday, it's not a real tradition, non-good. No, teams that play not on Saturday aren't rich in tradition. Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving would like to hear from you. By the way, the biggest game forever on Thanksgiving, besides the Cowboys, was what? The Lions always playing the Packers. Old school Thanksgiving. Yeah, Packers used to be on Thanksgiving all the time with the Lions. Yeah, that organization. Their tradition sucks too. Cowboys and Packers tradition, yeah. It's not what the Gators and the Knolls are. Stop it. You want to make this game relevant, you move it to Friday, and that's what they're doing. They should do it permanently. It should be the prime time Friday night game every year. 8 p.m. It needs to be on Saturday. So it gets lost in the shuffle? Good. Florida State can isolate itself and put itself in prime time. It's what happened. There's all the rivalry games. I look at it kind of like all the bowl games. People over the age of 60 love it when I loved it when all the bowl games were on the same day at the same time. Yeah, that's great. So I get to miss them all but one. Right now we have, 3 going on out of the gate? You got Capital One, you got the Outback, and what do we have this year? The Fiesta? Dancing around with 3 games is enough. What do you want, 8 the same day? That's how I feel about rivalry weekend. It's like, this is going on, and this is going on, this is going on. I can't watch it all. Spread it out. That's what the New Year's 6 did. It's spread it out. We're not going to have 2 of these games on at the same time. Let's spread it out. Watch one big one, then on to the next. So I get to watch 7 games over the course of 3 days, or I can watch one game with 6 other ones going on at the same time and miss them all. There's a logic in that. You can get lost in the shuffle at noon or get buried at night. Everybody's got to... And I heard this one today, too, from Gator fans. What about driving on Black Friday is going to be tough? Oh, come on. It's not like it's maximum overdrive out there. Who do you think you are, Emilio Estevez? Come on, what is this, Mad Max? Can't drive on Friday? I even saw something that was ridiculous. Somebody sent me a tweet that, there could be more fatalities because everybody's out on the road on Black Friday driving. And driving to the game, there could be more fatalities. Well, boy, these same people that write these things are the same people that take the mask off, don't live in fear. We can't have a football game on Friday. What about Black Friday? Driving, hazardous. Whatever. I love it. And I hope that, it's a network thing. It's a TV thing. Ask yourself this. Are more people going to watch Florida State at noon going up against Ohio State, Michigan? Or are more people going to be able to consume it on Friday night at 8 o'clock? You know the answer to that. I know the answer to that. It's the smart thing to do. It's the smart business thing to do. It's the smart financial thing to do. Now, if they're acting like it's a one-shot deal, I hope it's not. What did I write down here? In doing this, there are 2 other games that typically take place on that Friday. What do we have? We have Minnesota, Wisconsin that takes place on that Friday. And sometimes Iowa, Nebraska takes place on that Friday as well. That's what you're competing against. And you get to do it in prime time. Those games take place during the day because it's cold. In Minneapolis and Camp Randall and Des Moines. Shame on me, Seth. Oh, boy. Iowa City and Lincoln. Shame on me. I lived there for a year. Or at least in Lincoln. This one's always going to be in decent weather. So, smart thing to do. I hope they make it permanent. Smart business decision. More people are going to watch it on TV. More people are going to see it. More people are going to consume it. How is having your product consumed by more people a bad thing? Think about that. Here's your product. It can be consumed by more people. No! How's it a bad thing? Move it permanently. Friday night, 8 o'clock, every year. Gotta love it. And here's the thing. From a radio perspective, in me, it's a bad thing. I don't want every game to be at noon. Why? Because people listen to the radio during the day. At night, they watch TV. So you can't sit here and say, it's Seth, you're just speaking. No. From a media perspective, TV better at night, radio better the day. So the Gators playing at noon on Saturday is the best thing for my station ratings-wise because it's noon on Saturday. Friday night at 8 o'clock is not in the best interest of the radio station, but it's in the best interest of the rivalry. From Florida State to this. Oh, my gosh. The Jaguars. Duuuval dunce caps. Shad Khan. Shad can't. That's what it should be. Shad can't. What's going on here? It reminds me a little bit of the Lions and Matt Millen, the holding on to him with the Trent Baalke thing. Shad Khan has almost made a mistake. He doesn't want to admit it. Admits that he makes a mistake with Urban Meyer. Does not want to admit it that he made it with Trent Baalke. Which, okay, you just wipe the whole slate clean and say that was a bad idea. Failed for a year. Let's go. Rather than compounding it. Whatever reason, Byron Leftwich, you don't want him, that's fine. Doug Peterson interviewed in the last 24 hours. Doug Peterson interviewed a month ago. The Jaguars were the second team in the NFL to fire their coach this year, right? Behind John Gruden getting canned. Urban got canned after John Gruden. They've been interviewing coaches since December. It's February. The Jaguars have been interviewing coaches now. The interviewing process is taking place over the course of 3 calendar months. Now, they did interviews in December. They did interviews all January. Now they're doing interviews in February. No plan at all. There's doing your due diligence. I want to do my research. Think about if you're going to buy a car or a house. I want to do my research. Okay. If you're still looking for a car 6 months later, you're not doing research, just wasting time. You don't know what you want. True. And I understand he doesn't want to make the same mistake and he doesn't want to jump the gun. I get all those things. But this is why you got to hire smart people and get out of their way. But it seems like what's going on here is every interview that this takes place, the coaches are saying, I'll come, but he can't be here. If everyone is saying that, and Trent Baalke ran what out? He ran Jim Harbaugh out of San Francisco. And you can sit there and smirk and laugh what you think about Jim Harbaugh at Michigan. With the 49ers, what did he do? Go to back-to-back NFC Championship game, went to a Super Bowl, bang, bang, call on the goal line. They could win the Super Bowl? Seemed to know what he was doing, right? Didn't he? So, again, what are they going to do? Doug Peterson now? And look, if they hire Doug Peterson, fine. I think that's a good choice. Seems to be a good football coach. Seems to have it together. Won a Super Bowl. Could do worse. But this was a chance for them to be new and exciting and not... I mean, look at their last 3 coaches. Urban Meyer, okay. Doug Marrone, okay. And Gus Bradley, yeah, okay. Who's it before that? Dirk Cutter? I'm going back even farther. It's like, what do we do? What's going on here? It's lost. Franchise is lost. We make fun and laugh at Washington in that franchise. But when you're sitting here talking about the Jaguars and Shad Kant and the organization, like, well, we're not as bad as like the Washington. That's the bar. Bad. Just bad, rotten, awful. Think about this. Nobody wants the job, or they can't find somebody to take a job in which they have a quarterback of a generation, especially after what Joe Burrow just did. You got Trevor Lawrence, who came out of the draft, right? Came into the draft, higher accolades than Joe Burrow ever had, and all the love, and Trevor Lawrence you can't miss. And then you follow it up with a gigantic egg in which you get the number 1 overall pick again, and they'll be like, yeah, well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that job. Jaguars like nobody wants it. Shad Khan, I'm trying to think of a franchise that is more poorly run in sports? What franchise is more poorly run in sports? Could sit there and poke at the Lions. Maybe. Other than the Lions, who's more poorly run in sports? I can't think of any. It's just brutal. Just awful, terrible. The Jaguars are the equivalent of Kansas football. It's like, my gosh. Just bad. And I look at this team and try to figure out where they go next and what they do next. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. It looks like the Byron Leftwich thing. It's not going to happen. It happened by now, right? It's obvious Byron Leftwich will come if Shad Khan does something he doesn't want to do. That's why he won't do it. They're choosing Trent Baalke over head coaches. And I want you to ask, I did this with Harbaugh and Baalke back when he was with San Francisco. Why on earth would you get rid of a coach that took you to 3 straight postseasons and a Super Bowl for a GM? What? Nobody's coming to watch a GM play. I don't get it. I don't. You have to have your GM and your coach on the. And look, these coaches are smart for not taking it. Well, maybe you can. No. If we're not on the same page, it's not going to work. And what happens is all these guys like the Byron Leftwiches of the world, these first-time head coaches, don't want to come here, and Trent Baalke gets canned after a year, and a new GM comes in, he wants his new guy, and all of a sudden they're out? No. Why would they want that? Why would you want that? What a disaster. Shad can't. Love it. Love that nickname. You can steal it. It's a poor situation. And I hate it for Jags fans. But, the NFL, Shad Khan, in 10 years, it lucked into one good season. And Shad Khan's an example of somebody who just keeps throwing money at things. I think Shad Khan loves owning an NFL team. I don't think Shad Khan loves football. There's a difference. Shad Khan loves owning a football team. I don't think he loves football. So there you go. And I don't know what they do. And it's going to be tough to get stadium things passed and things done. It's just brutal. Brutal. They're talking about wanting to do renovations downtown, a new state, not necessarily a new stadium, but new construction, put a roof on that thing. How are you going to be able to sell any of that stuff to the public in taxes when this is going on? Terrible. Speaking of the rest of the coaches, I thought from the beginning the Jaguars should hire Josh McDaniels. I thought Josh McDaniels was the right fit. Saw what he's done with 3 quarterbacks. He had 3 of the 14 quarterbacks that he'd helped develop. I don't know if you consider him developing Tom Brady, but had success with Tom Brady. And the Raiders hire him. Watch what Josh McDaniels does with the Raiders. He's a good football coach. Yeah, he struggled in Denver his first go-round. He did. But figured it out. Went back to New England, there for a decade. He hasn't rushed into this. He's been back there 10 years. Hasn't he? Close to it? They'll be successful in Vegas. They will. The other coaches and where guys are ending up, what was it? The bowl with the Giants. Okay, I guess. Eberflus, is that who it is with the Bears? I don't know much about him. Some guys are starting to hire guys like, oh, okay. Will Flores end up somewhere? I think so. I'd got to think so. If Harbaugh ends up with the Vikings have one more year of just a mess. Kirk Cousins, they owe $45 million. They're on the foot for so many bills, but next year they're going to have a ton of cap space. And here they go. I don't know what it means. Who's going to be able to free agency, what they're going to be able to go get quarterback wise. Maybe this is the year that they draft a Matt Corral, sit him behind Cousins, and here you go. I'd love to see Harbaugh with the Vikings. To coach against the Bears, who wouldn't even give him an interview. Right down the road, the Lions could have had him a year ago. Would love it. Absolutely love it. Want to wrap with this. College football talking about changing their rules when it comes to players faking injuries at the end of games or when teams are moving to slow down drives. look, it's going to be hard to, how do you determine whether or not somebody faked it or not? Like they lay down, okay, they get up and they hop off. All right, we're going to stick it to you. What if somebody's genuinely hurt? Imagine if somebody's genuinely hurt. You say that they're faking it. You hit them with a penalty. And then that person got a torn ACL. How do you regulate it? There's only one way to regulate it. You go down for cramping or for whatever reason on a drive, you can't come back the rest of that drive. It's that simple. It really is that simple. If somebody's moving the ball and you pretend to get a cramp, oh, you fall down, you fake an injury. Okay, out the rest of the drive. 72's out. He's down. We had to stop the clock. You can use a timeout if you want. But if you don't use a timeout, he's going to leave the field and he can't come back on the next play. He's got to leave the rest of the drive. Got to go off the rest of the drive. That could be 10 more plays. Yep. Well, he's legitimately hurt. Well, if he's legitimately hurt, he's going to be out the rest of the drive anyway. If he's legitimately hurt, it's not going to be 2 or 3 plays. It's going to be longer than that. If he's really hurt, torn ACL, broken ankle, and all that, oh, he's faking it. And the guy's got a broken ankle and you nail him with a 15-yard penalty and it was really broken, you're going to look like a fool. There's no way to look like a fool if you sit there and somebody's hurt and you say, hey, you're out the rest of the drive. They can't come back in. So and it's usually when momentum's going. So they're going to be on the other side of the 50 and the other side of the 40. So they're going to get down to the red zone. They're not going to be able to play. That's how you handle that. You don't need a bunch of rules. You don't need a czar in the sky to determine whether or not, is he faking, is he not? How do you determine that? No. You cramp up. You go down with an injury when another team's moving the ball. Quick huddle offense. They can't come back in the rest of the drive. That's the plan with that. That's what I would do. They're kicking around some other rules too. The one I would love to see college football change is the stopping on first down so they can move the stick. You could save 15, 20 minutes a game just by keeping the clock running. First down, all right, now let's wait for the sticks to move. Okay, now that's why college football games are 4 hours long. You seriously could shave 15, 20 minutes off a college game by doing that. But I digress. What an episode, right? That was jam-packed. I'll get to the Super Bowl predictions and all those things coming up. Bengals. Tip of the hat. Tip of the hat. I can't think of a Super Bowl ever where the top 3 seeds from both the NFC and AFC didn't make it. The top 3 seeds in the AFC didn't make the Super Bowl. Top 3 seeds in the NFC didn't make the Super Bowl, right? Perhaps a 4 seed? Weren't they? Or they a 3? It's remarkable. Remarkable what took place. It was. Should be a fun Super Bowl. Really should be. Harp on Sports, the Bar Podcast, Audio Media Radio Network. Follow, share, like, subscribe at Harp on Sports. You know where to hit us. Harp on Sports Facebook page. Podcast available as well. And check out harponsports.com if you haven't done so yet. Remember, stay clean, stay focused, stay strong. Frankenstein. Have fun with your friends.